I spent well over 600 hours riding by myself. The reality is that if you wait around for your buddy's schedule to open up, your seat time gets cut to practically nothing. I always hear people say that they would never ride alone because it's just not safe. Well, I'm gonna say it. I crash more in group rides trying to avoid someone than I do riding by myself. That said, I have had some life-threatening situations. Yet, here I am. So, how am I still alive? Today we're going to talk tips, tricks, tools, and gear that I have with me on every ride. Let's talk about this. Number one is simple. Always bring your tools. Seems pretty basic, but here's how I do it. If you use it in your garage, bring it with you. I have a mini set of tools that I can totally tear my machine down with. Stuff you're going to want in that pack: epoxy, a small roll of wire, electrical tape, a sharp knife, good amount of paracord, a masterlink for your chain, hose clamps, the worm gear type. This is not just for hoses. Extra levers. These are small and fit easily under your seat. Obviously, you're going to want to bring zip ties, a handful of common bolts for your bike, a spoke wrench or adjustable wrench, wire cutters, and pliers. Obviously, if you're on a KTM, you're going to need an 8mm or a torque wrench. Bring the common sizes for your bike. Number two, know your machine better than you know your self. You really need to be able to take your machine apart on the trail, and you really need to be able to know where every little bit and bob goes back to on the trail. Working on your bike in the garage is one thing. Working on your bike on the side of a mountain or in the rain or literally anywhere it's a whole different other story. You need to know your machine really well. So read your service manual, read your owner's manual, and work on your own bike in your garage with the tools that you bring with you. Number three, don't just know how to change a tire, practice changing a tire. Practice changing a tire? Who does that? Well, people who don't want to be stranded on the side of the road. Changing the tire in your garage is one thing. Changing the tire on the side of a trail is a completely different thing. It could be raining, it could be cold, it could be hailing, you don't know. But if you practice this stuff in your garage, it gets a lot easier to do when the conditions are not ideal. Number four, if it can break, it will. Assume your machine is going to break. Assume every part about your machine is going to break. Obviously, you can't be ready for every single thing, but you can MacGyver your way out of a lot of situations. Be creative and assume it will break. Number five, consider your gear as something that can break. Bring a simple sewing kit and fishing line for thread. I know this sounds really silly, but you have to think about this. Your gear can save your life. What if your backpack rips and now all of a sudden you only have one strap and you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere? This stuff happens. You need to be prepared. Simple as that. Number six, bring the quick set epoxy, like the type that you roll in your hand and then it gets hard. Rocks will damage things that need to be epoxied shut, like your clutch cover or an engine casing. I know I said epoxy already in the tools, I just wanted to reiterate, because this kind of epoxy that you roll together and make into like a goop has saved me more than one time. It's fine that you get a damaged engine casing, it's fine that you're leaking oil. You clean it, you put the epoxy on it, it'll harden, and then you can continue your ride until you get home and you can fix whatever broke. Number seven, check your bike for bolts that just aren't tight enough before each ride. I know it seems like a no-duh situation for a lot of motocross guys, but if you're riding all the time, you kind of just hop on the bike and go. Especially if you ride every day or every other day, you're not sitting there and babying the machine all the time. You realize the machine is a tool, so it's really easy to forget to go around and check every single nut and bolt. And if it's something that's really important, use some Loctite on it. Number eight, always bring first aid. This isn't normally for you, actually. Not all of my rides are solo rides, but somehow every time I go on a group ride, somebody gets hurt, and I'm the one with the first aid, which is ironic because it should be my first aid, right? I'm always solo riding, I bring it for myself. Well, while I have used the first aid on myself a couple of times, I've used it on other people more often than I've used it on myself. It's always good to have a kit with band-aids, antiseptic, all kinds of stuff. Just anything that you could think of to deal with bad cuts, potentially pain, or maybe even something along the lines of a broken finger or arm. For that, you can use electrical tape and a stick, but still, you know what I'm saying. Just make sure you got your bases covered when it comes to first aid. Also, if you have any special needs, for example, if you're asthmatic or you have really bad allergies, obviously you're going to want to put that in your first aid kit. Number 9, carry fire starting equipment. Just do it. You never know when something can go really wrong, and things get cold really fast when it gets to be dark. Also, a fire is a really good signal for people that might be looking for you. If the sun sets and you don't have fire, you're going to get cold very fast, and they're not going to be able to find you. Overall, it's a bad situation. If the sun sets and you have fire starting equipment, you just start a fire, you're warm, and they're going to be able to find you a lot easier. Pretty straightforward. Number 10, bring an external battery and the cable to charge your phone. Double check that it's all full and working every single ride. Not just the cable for your phone, but the cable for your GPS or SOS signal if you happen to have one. Number 11, pack plenty of water. Okay, now you got plenty of water now? Okay, now double it. Always bring more water than you think you're gonna need, and you almost always run out. Number 12, if you use tubes, you need to have a patch kit and an air pump, or an extra tube and an air pump. I personally, when I used tubes, kept patch kit with me. It was a pain in the butt to patch a tube on the side of the trail, but it's a lot smaller than carrying a front and a rear tube, and the weight of carrying 2 tubes is extreme. So I had a small air pump that was basically for bicycles and a patch kit, and that worked for me. Number 13, remember, your gear is protection from the sun as much as it is from a crash. A sunburn is something that most men are too macho to admit they're gonna get, but it's also one of the quickest and easiest ways to ruin in a day's riding. So just remember, you're being protected from the sun as well as from crashes. Number 14, consider temperature changes. I often ride from 2,000 meters to 4,000 meters, and the temperature change is drastic. When I do those rides, I always carry a jacket with me. I have a very light shell jacket. I think it's made for fishing or something like that, but it folds up really small and it goes into my backpack really easily. It's pretty straightforward. Just remember, if you're going up, it's going to get cold. If you're going down, it's going to get hot. Just be prepared to take layers off and add layers on. Number 15, remember that saving your bike is not worth losing your life. Think flash flood or falling off a cliff. If you have to choose to let the bike go and get out of the water, just let the bike go. You can fix it later, but drowning in moto boots and a helmet sounds like a pretty crappy way to die. I know this because I've actually had to let my bike go in a flash flood. I came back later and I retrieved it, drained all the water out, did all the stuff I had to do to make it run again, and the bike ran fine. I'm still alive because I let the bike go. There was a moment in my head, I actually remember it, where I had to make the choice. Do I hold on to this bike that's sliding, or do I let it go? It was either go over the waterfall with the bike or let the bike go and get out of the water. I know it seems like a really simple situation. Of course you'd save yourself, but the reality is a lot of guys have this ride or die mentality with their motorcycle. The truth is it's a machine. It can be replaced or repaired. It's not worth it. Number 16, pack light. Yeah, I know I said to bring all that stuff and then said pack light. But the reality is that if the tool can do one thing, you want it to be able to do multiple things. So the idea is to pack as light as you can, but have all the tools that you need. So how do you do that? Well, instead of packing an 8mm, a 10mm, and a 12mm wrench, you just pack 3 different sockets in a T-wrench. It keeps it light and makes the T work for multiple different things. You just have to get crafty and make sure that whatever you bring with you does more than one thing. Always pack light because you got to carry it with you. Number 17, don't attach anything vital to your machine unless you have a backup. Phone on the bars? Well, when I lost my bike in that flash flood, guess where the phone was? It was on the bars. I had a pretty long walk back, and I had to find a rare stranger that would let me use their cell phone to call for help. So, if you are going to use your phone for navigation, have some sort of emergency backup so that your loved ones will know that you're safe and potentially where you are. That could be a GPS or just a simple SOS button. They do make them, and they're not hard to find. Or you can do what I do and just put your phone in your pocket and ride trails that you know. Number 18, bring nuts and sugar. It doesn't have to taste good, but sometimes your body just needs help. And these are the simple, lightweight foods that won't go bad that you can bring with you. I like to bring those Japanese peanuts with the crispy shell just because I like them, and some sort of sugar. Chocolate works, but it has to be hard chocolate, the kind that tastes really bad, because it doesn't melt when you get hot. I guess you could do nuts and M&Ms because M&Ms have that nice, M&Ms won't melt on you. So there you go. That sorts it out. Just whatever you like. You could do gummy worms or something like that too. It's also nice to have a nice little snack. Number 19. Personally, I feel like this doesn't need to be said, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Don't drink or smoke and ride. Number 20. If it's a long ride, it's worth stopping to get the rock out of your boot. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a really bloody sock. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, I'm too macho, I can keep riding with it. Look, you're riding by yourself. You're not holding anybody up. Just stop and get the dang rock out of your boot, and then tighten the boot up afterwards so the rocks don't get into your boot. Number 21, pay attention to your gas. On dirt bikes at least, if the gas light is on, you are very close to running out. So if that gas light comes on, you better be headed to a gas station. Just direct, not some other detour, I'll get there eventually, you better get going. So it seems like a really simple one, but running out of gas in the middle of nowhere kind of sucks. So yeah, I'm putting it on the list. Pay attention to your gas. Number 22, taking risks is okay. Taking stupid risks is just stupid. I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory, but what I mean by this is that if you're uncomfortable doing a step up, and that step up isn't necessarily going to break your arm, or if you fall off it, your bike is gonna, survive. If everything will be okay if you crash, then take the risk. But if you're gonna try to go down a cliff, and if you crash and mess up, you're gonna end up potentially injured to the point where you need help to get out, don't do that, because you don't have help. So you just need to weigh the risks and think about it in the sense that you are your only backup. Is it worth it? If I get injured doing this, how bad will it be? And then make the decision based on that. Number 23, you are going to crash, and that is okay. Just be ready to pull yourself back up and put yourself back together. Look, off-road riding is all about progressing, and in order to progress, we have to try things that we don't know how to do. Nobody is born with the knowledge to ride a dirt bike. It might seem like it, but we all learn it at some point. So get comfortable with the idea of crashing. Little crashes, big crashes, it's all gonna happen. You put a lot of time on a bike, you get a lot of crashes. You'll be all right. Number 24, probably should have said this one earlier, but warm up. Before you dive into a long, difficult route, just do some balance training, hit some turns, get yourself physically and mentally ready. It really makes a big difference, honestly. Number 25, when you're working on your bike, always put the bolts back in when you take the stuff off. This is a good habit in the shop too, but losing a bolt in dirt or grass is not fun. This is honestly kind of a top tip. If you take something off, say your clutch cover, put the bolts back in as you take them out. So you take the clutch cover off with all the bolts in, and don't just set the clutch cover down with the bolts in. The bolts are gonna fall out and then you're gonna have to find them. Take them out individually and screw them just slightly back into the hole that they came out of. It keeps track of your bolts. You don't lose anything. You can do the same thing with the gasket as well. Honestly, this is a pro tip. You're welcome. I'm just saying. Number 26, not every ride has to be some grand adventure. Revisit some difficult sections and practice them. It really makes a difference over the long run. If you can go back to a trail that was really hard maybe 6 months ago and you practice it to the point that it becomes easy, now when you go on a new trail, you'll have those skills. They'll translate pretty easily. It's pretty incredible to me to go back to the trails that used to be nearly impossible for me and just see how incredibly easy they are. That being said, I do have some grand adventures that I go on solo. I did one yesterday. It was really gnarly. I'm super sore today, but I'm glad I did it. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go do that same crazy adventure every time I go ride. Honestly, me and the bike, I don't think we can both take it. Sometimes you just need to go back and practice the basics. Number 27, be prepared to fix your bike with a big ass rock. Think you bent a sprocket. This stuff happens. I know, it seems crazy. Bent sprockets, bent bars, bent rims. And I don't recommend you carry a hammer with you because usually there's a rock nearby. So get used to the idea of bashing your bike with a rock. I know it sounds crazy, especially if you bought a new bike, but that's just how you gotta do it to get out sometimes. Especially with a bent sprocket that's so bent that the chain's gonna pop off every time it rotates. But there's a solution. You just hit it with a rock. Really hard. So yeah, just be prepared for that. It's gonna happen. Number 28, be respectful to anyone you see on the trail. You may need them. Also, it's just kind of a dick move to be rude. Number 29, don't bring anything with you that you don't want broken. I bring a lot of camera gear with me. I do everything I can to keep it safe, but if it gets smashed, I'm prepared to go home and fix it. I've learned how to change lenses, I've learned how to do soldering, because everything that goes with you on the bike eventually breaks. Number 30, if you're struggling to make it up, look for another way. If another way doesn't exist, turn around. Blowing all of your energy on one section that is too difficult for your current skill level makes the rest of the ride suck. So it's not worth pushing your bike for hours and hours on end. You're not really learning, you're just physically training, I guess, but you're not learning good technique. The best way to improve on the dirt bike is to learn better technique, not to push. I know a lot of people say up is up, and that's fine for a race, but the reality is when you're not racing, you're practicing all the time. So you should practice good form. And if you're so tired because you pushed the bike up the hill that you can't practice proper good form, you're not going to actually improve. So it's probably worth turning around, going back down, trying a different way, or just getting more momentum to try it again. Number 31, our final but biggest point. We're going to talk about gear. Obviously, you'll want a helmet, but I prefer one with goggles, as a visor collects dust on both the outside and the inside, which is hard to clean off while riding. Goggles, on the other hand, don't collect dust on the inside, so you're fine. The goggles are definitely the way to go if you're going to be riding off-road. Good off-road riding boots are extremely important, and I have seen more than one person end up going to the hospital for stitches because they thought work boots would be enough. Off-road riding boots don't just look cool. They protect your ankles from twists, turns, bends that they shouldn't do. And they also protect your whole bottom leg from cuts because your bottom leg is down with the motorcycle where it can get burned or cut really badly. There are bits and bobs on motorcycles that are just not really friendly to soft human tissues. So good riding boots are very important. Waterproof pants are terrible. You're gonna sweat and the water needs to go out somewhere. If you're wearing waterproof pants, you just feel like you're wearing an oven. So ignore waterproof and exchange the waterproof feature for hardcore ventilation. You're gonna get wet, but that's okay. It's off-road riding. Getting wet isn't that big of a deal. It's actually pretty fun to ride in the rain. Always wear long sleeves. This is about the sun. The sun will drain your energy faster than riding. Also gloves because hand burns suck. Proper long socks are a must. I'm talking the ones that go all the way up. Keep your inner legs from getting rubbed raw, which just sucks mostly. Those coupled with knee protection are a really good mix. I also wear neck and shoulder protection, but that's a choice that you're going to want to make on your own. On that note, buying used gear is totally okay. In fact, most of my gear is used, and most of my gear has a ton of hours on it, but it still works, so I'm just going to keep using it. Final note on gear is having an awesome backpack that holds a water bag and a water tube is amazing. I can't imagine riding without a nice tight backpack. They don't have to be enduro riding backpacks. Hiking backpacks work just as well. If you're going to buy a hiking backpack, just get a smaller one unless you're planning on going like a super long trip, but that's a whole different video. Usually a day pack is what they're called. Those are perfect for riding. And I actually personally use hiking backpacks for myself. I don't use riding backpacks because I like hiking backpacks better. I think that their compartments are a little bit more useful and they're cheaper. So overall, win-win. Hopefully now you feel a little bit more prepared to head out and explore all by yourself. Schedules are complex and having everyone's link up can be literally impossible. So get yourself prepared, pack your bag, double check your fluids, tighten those loose bolts, and gear up. Go have fun, and don't forget to take notes. So when your buddies finally do find the time to meet up with you, you can take them to those epic spots on your map. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please know that I'm in the comments below, so if you have any questions or if you want to add a point to the mix, go ahead and drop it in the comment section below. I'm always there and I'm here for the conversation afterward. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.